right, welcome to the second review of the evening of Tanks and Demons 3. So as far as we can tell, this isn't the third game in any sort of trilogy or series or anything. We're not really sure what the 3 is designated here for.
There is a 1, but we can't find the 2, you said?
Yeah, I didn't find any of Tanks and Demons 2. And I used the dash scheme that they're doing, like unless they put that under the like Arabic numeral, like let me just recheck here to see if there is a 2 here. No, I'm not seeing a 2.
Huh.
So, I'm like,
not that the story here particularly seemed to be a sequel to something. It's like, there's demons now. At first, we couldn't fight them, but then we developed photon technology, ? Clearly, we're using some fantasy definition of photon and not the actual light particle.
Yes.
So you can use those to fight them. But then, like, the people who developed them put them in tanks, and the tanks only worked for them, so the government didn't like them. So now you have to pilot a tank and fight the demons, or else the government will imprison you, ?
Yeah. So the basic premise here is it's a maze game in the vein of Pac-Man, but with more shooty stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, think maybe combined with Galaga, Space Invaders, real Golden Age stuff here for the most part. Although the actual design of the game looks closer to maybe a Bomberman game.
Yeah. And there are other ways in which it is sort of like Bomberman too, so.
Mm-hmm. So, it is a pastiche of classic arcade games from the 80s. I know Bomberman is not an actual arcade game, but just work with me here. It's once again, it's a game that is emulating the style of the times long ago. Although its graphical style is going like more like Xbox Live Arcade downloadable title or something like that. Maybe PlayStation 1 game. You certainly wouldn't have seen a game that looked like using polygons like this in the 80s, even the 90s. This would actually be pretty advanced for like the PlayStation 1, the PlayStation 2. Anyway, point of order is it's a pastiche. It's a whole mixture of things in terms of influence. But anyway, so we got the Nintendo Switch version of this game, so it's over to the Galax for the body of the review.
So the main reason why I say this is like Pac-Man is that the main goal and the way that you end each level is collecting all of the photon dots, except in the boss levels, which we'll come back to. Most of them are just regular dots, but each level has a certain number of larger dots, which are ones that you need to sit on for a certain amount of time for a capture thing to go up. To capture them, when you do that, the gate that is the gate to hell or whatever that is the level is closed, and all of the enemies that exist get sucked up, and you win. This is also one of the games, I've seen a few of them where, like, before you can start the game, you have currency and you have to buy your first tank, and then you can upgrade later on. But its method of doing that is kind of really half-assed. You can't switch back to a previous tank, and you only, at the beginning of the game, have money to buy one specific tank, and it's not like you, like, lose the money you put into it if you die or anything. So it kind of half-asses that. Also, when you have a tank, you can upgrade the speed, armor, ammunition, and nitro capacity of that tank. But when you upgrade to the next tank, the upgrades don't carry over. So I feel like that's kind of suboptimal, especially I don't know. I found myself a few times grinding the first level for money for upgrades or money for a new tank because each tank does have a slightly different way that the main gun fires. Um, I found myself grinding on the first level because it's really easy. Particularly notable is that when you upgrade to a new tank, your new tank starts out with 2 shots on its gun. You actually start out with 4 at the very beginning of the game in the first tank you buy, but 2 shots is not enough, and you also start out with 1 nitro, but I think that's always the case. Nitro just makes you go fast for a while, go faster. The bullets is important because your nitro and bullet refills are random from a drop ship that drops them at a random point on the map. So you can go far too long without getting any bullet refills when on any stage after the first like 2, new enemies are constantly spawning. You will get overwhelmed. It does introduce new kinds of enemies that have different movement patterns and attack patterns. But honestly, the only ones that really stood out to me are the ones that there's one that looks kind of like a Zergling that will when it sees you, it will run towards you super fast, and the best way to avoid them is to duck into a side passage. And the gorilla-like things that make some kind of gravity field, and they were mostly notable because they take more than 1 hit with a default gun that you'll have at that point. So yeah, some of the mechanics are kind of weird, like the upgrading and not having nearly enough money. It wants you to sink money into upgrades and stuff, and that puts off upgrading your main tank or upgrade your tank and then I don't know what they want you to do. But I ended up having ground and had the best tank fully upgraded by the 2/3 point of the game, I think. The play is kind of slow and awkward a little bit. Like the tank, even when it's fat, even when you upgrade its speed, still isn't quite as fast and responsive as you want, which is important because as the later stages get, the stage layouts get more. There are little dead ends all over the place that you need to go into and hope that an enemy doesn't come in behind you if you're out of ammo. The boss stages are really kind of really annoying because, again, you're dependent still on drop-offs of ammunition. Each boss does have a different attack pattern and movement pattern, but they all can cover a significant proportion of the screen with whatever their attacks are, or they follow you really quickly. And basically, you need to be able to shoot them pretty regularly. So yeah, it's rewarding if you take the time to learn how to do it, but also some of the things are random. Also, a weird thing is that while the stage layouts for each stage are set, your spawn point is at least semi-random. Which is weird because it does mean that yes, you can spawn in a dead end and stuff like that. But yeah, and the boss stages aren't even particularly rewarding because the rewards for beating them in terms of the currency you use to upgrade your tank are like a quarter of what a regular stage gives. There are basically 3 or 4 skins for the stage. There's the naturey one, the icy one, and the fiery one, and then there might be, if there's a 4th one, it's kind of similar to the fiery one. The music is pretty nice, actually, if you take time to listen to it, which I did for a little bit. Once you start getting tank weapons that can shoot through walls, that's really helpful because that's the best way to... I know the last 2 have that. The 3rd one from the last might also, but I don't think so. I didn't have that one for very long. Sorry for being a little disjointed. It's just I had an okay time playing this game, but it feels like there are a lot of mechanics in it that are a little bit like it's not fully committing to like having real upgrade trees that matter, or having a variety of tanks to use, because each one does have some things that it's better at than the other ones, but then like when you've upgraded to the next one, you can't go back. So like if you try to select a previous tank, it'll just say you already have a better one. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly what to make of some of that stuff. It's not bad, but it doesn't seem like it's quite what it wanted to be. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Bit of an identity crisis.
Kind of. I mean, it's a decent time, albeit some of the stages are a little frustrating. Do you guys have any questions?
I'm good.
No.
I'm good.
Oh, the pickup point after you beat a level, you have to manually drive over and enter the dropship, and where it goes to pick you up is also randomly determined. If you do get the game, I don't recommend upgrading Nitro particularly fast, even though it is one of the things you get the upgrades for. It doesn't give you like a ram attack or make you invincible. It just, although some of the enemies don't have collision damage, they only do damage when they actually attack, so you can run through some things with Nitro, but I find having more bullets to be more useful usually. I guess, I'm sorry, it's not a super deep game, so I don't have a whole ton to say, but that's about what I got, I think.
That's pretty good for, a simple arcadey type game. Like, we don't need a 45-minute opus of Tanks and Demons 3. Anyway, so pricing, this game clocks in at $5.
Yeah, that's a good price for it, I think.
See, this is what I was talking about in the other review. Like, this game sounds like it's simple enough for that price, but no more. And anyway, so I guess that's about it for Of Tanks and Demons 3 here. Be sure to tune in after the break, as Petty Fan will be reviewing Even the Ocean.